Hey y'all, before we get into the video, there's been a lot of people complaining about the way we filmed it, so I tried to change the format on my phone. We're doing this for completely free, just out of the goodness of our hearts. So we don't have a lot of extra money for fancy camera equipment and all this stuff, so I'm trying to make it work. If you guys like what we're doing, please hit subscribe and like the video, leave a comment. If there's anything in the future you guys want to see, leave it in the comments. You got any questions about the rig or how we're doing it, leave it in the comments. We try to reply to everybody. And like I said, it's something fun we're doing. We're not getting paid for it. So just keep that in mind when you guys are super harsh about the video quality and what we're doing here. But anyway, so I was loading up to go to West Virginia to escape all the riots. Just kidding. There's no riots around here. It's just cows. But we're going to West Virginia for a couple days. Hopefully we'll have some good content from there. But the one thing, you know, I was doing my kind of pre-ride checklist, and I noticed that nobody has a video really anywhere I could find for any UTV, much less the KRX. So this will be kind of KRX specific. But we'll roll right into it. First and foremost, guys, check your tire pressure. Say it one more time. Check your tire pressure. It's amazing the difference in ride quality you get depending on what kind of terrain you guys ride in. What a small adjustment of tire pressure will do. I check mine every time I ride using a good quality low pressure gauge. Don't use a high pressure gauge. They're not accurate enough. Stock calls for 12 front, 17 rear. I run 11 front, 12 rear. It works best for me. But yeah, guys, play with your tire pressure some. That's the great thing about the KRX. It comes with beadlocks. So you can go super low or whatever you feel like you need to do, whatever works best for you guys. The other thing, I'm talking about the beadlocks. Mine from the factory were super loose. It's a 14 millimeter bolt head, so a 14 millimeter socket, and the torque setting is 41 foot-pounds. The first couple times you do it, guys, it's going to be loose. Do it in a star pattern. It's actually in your manual, and I guess it wouldn't be a star, but it's 16 bolts, but you'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like so. You'll see it in your manual. After you get them down, you know, torqued, and they stay like that after a couple rides, then I just go around each individual bolt and check it. Not hard, worth the trouble. You'll never have a leaky one. You won't let mud and grit and crap get in there and mess your day up. Lug nuts, 17 millimeter, and stock setting's 88.5 foot-pounds. So takes 5 seconds, check it. You'll be glad you did. All right, suspension. Everybody has their own compression settings they like, which is adjustable up there. We've talked about that in some other videos. I run stock, which is 12 out from full stiff in the front and 18 out from full stiff in the rear. But just check them. It's not hard. Check your radiator, guys. They did a good job with this. You can pull this out, look in your radiator. Your radiator may look clean from the outside, but make sure you get clear water all the way through the back side of it. So stick a hose on the front of it and make sure water comes out of the back clear. When you put this back on, again, make sure you engage those so you don't lose your grill or bust somebody's windshield out when you're trailering it. Check your coolant level. Super easy. They made that easy too. Right there. See mine? There's low. There's high. Mine's right in the middle. Check that. It could warn you about some future problems. CVs. Just look at all your boots, guys. You know, if you see any grease, that means you've got at the very minimum a pinhole. I have used RTV to seal a pinhole in a pinch, just temporary to get me through a ride. So you can do that, but remember, guys, if it is leaking at all, you need to replace that boot. These axles are like $700 or something ridiculous from Kawasaki, so I don't want to destroy my CV. It's worth disassembling it and popping a boot on it. In the back, same deal. Check your axles, check your compression knob. But also with the KRX, everybody knows, you can see the gap there. They had some issues initially with the axles pulling out from the factory because they weren't seated all the way. I think they call for a 2 millimeter gap there. I always check mine. I've never had the issue, but for as little effort as it takes to check it, just make sure it's right before you go out on your ride. Air filter. I check it every ride, clean it every ride. You got this little door here. Turn those 2 clips, pull it down, open your air filter up, pull it out. I run an R2C filter, but same style as the Kawasaki factory filter. Pull it out. You can tap it around the edges to knock loose dust out, and then you can use compressed air from the inside out. Don't ever push it in because that'll Trust me, don't do that. Put your little compressed air nozzle inside, spray out until there's no dust left. Pop it back on, you're good to go. This is your engine intake here. Make sure it's good and clean. Like I said, I don't put a pressure washer on there to try to save the frog skin stuff. Never had any issues with that, but you've got a drain there that you can just squeeze, let anything in there out. And then you've got a drain on the bottom of the air box. And then you have one more drain. Whoops, let me get the camera back. Sorry guys, I'm trying. Right there. Unsnap that, and there's a little plug. Pull that out, and any water that made it to the very bottom of your intake tract will drain out. As you can see, I have my spark arrestor back in for this video because where we're going, it's required. Look up in there at your spark arrestor. A lot of times mud will splash back up in here and kind of cake up the screen, and it'll cause you to run really hot. You'll lose performance. So just, it's one bolt right there, 10mm bolt. Pop it out, clean it, wire brush and some brake parts clean or something. All right, clutch intake. I mean, just make sure these are clean. It's a clutch, not that hard to deal with. Excuse me. And that should be about it, guys. Oh, the most obvious thing. Always check your oil. Make sure you're between the high and the low marks. I just changed mine so it's nice and golden. But always make sure it's between high and low. Takes 2 seconds to do it. I'm glad Kawasaki put a window on this one. It makes life a lot easier. But if you've got a dipstick on your machine, if you don't have a KRX, check it every time you ride it. If your machine's using oil, then it's telling you there's an issue. So just keep an eye on it, guys. All right, and as far as prep for like my windows and stuff, I like to use this Rain-X glass cleaner with a microfiber. It puts a little bit of a film on there, so when water initially hits it, it'll stream off a little bit better than just regular glass cleaner. For the trail, I've got this thing. It's like 10 bucks. Pump it up, put some creek water in it, rinse your windshield off, and then a little $2 squeegee. It seems stupid, but when you get on a trail and you keep getting mud on your windshield and there's not a good way to clean it, these things are great. And I keep all that in this little waterproof bag. Again, I got it from Amazon. It was like $20. It just folds up. It is completely waterproof. I throw it behind the seat, but I've got my first aid kit, rain jacket, and then I put all my window cleaning stuff in there. But other than that, guys, the other thing I will say, if you watched our last video, we did a lot of deep water riding. And Kawasaki did a pretty good job with the diff vents, but it's still, I pulled the inspection caps and fill caps on my front and rear differential just to make sure it wasn't milky. If it's milky looking, you got water in there, so dump it, flush it, fill it up with fresh. But that's 27mm. It's huge. I don't know why it's so gigantic, but whatever. 27mm to check it. Front and rear, just make sure it's not milky. Other than that, guys, the only thing I do every 3 or 4 rides, I'll put it up on jack stands or a jack and just kind of shake the wheel from top to bottom and see if there's any play in my wheel bearings. And I'll also check the torque on my axle nuts. That'll be in the service manual. I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but some people have had their axle nuts come loose, so I've checked mine. Mine have never been loose, but again, I don't do that every ride, but every 3 or 4 rides I'll jack it up in the shop, check them just to be on the safe side. But other than that, guys, appreciate everything, and if you have any questions or any ideas for any other videos, let us know, and hopefully we'll get some good content from West Virginia for the next 4 days. Thanks.